Welcome back to the Sip and Swish podcast. Alongside Lucas McLean, Nick Reed, I'm Jason Stoltz. We're going to start off just like how you think we're going to start off. We're going to talk about the Jazz.
Classic.
Yep. It's the first quarter. We're reviewing the best and worst from the last week in the association, referring to it as sipping or swishing. Now the Jazz, my friends, definitely swishing. Winners of 10 straight, and winners of 10 straight to get over 500 on the season.
It's been a huge run. It's been absolutely huge. They've beaten, Golden State by 30, Phoenix by 32, the Pelicans by 24, Portland by 19, and the Spurs twice. Those are all huge games.
I was not aware that the Spurs were twice in that. I knew they obviously beat them on Monday.
Yeah.
Monday to get to the 10th. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, they're winning by committee, I think, is the biggest thing. It's not like one person is completely showing up. Donovan Mitchell's doing great, but it's like a team effort.
It was Rudy Gobert pretty much benched himself in the fourth quarter and said Derek Favors needs to stay in. They can't stop him. He's playing outstanding defense. I'm just going to stay out of the game. Let him play. He's killing it right now.
That's got to be such a great locker room. Crowder's got to be so happy right now that guys are actually sacrificing. Crowder doesn't have to be this like overhyped guy. He can just be like, okay, I'm the backup small forward. I'm the sixth man, and I'm going to drop 12 points a game, and everyone's going to love me. I mean, it's got to be such a great situation.
Crowder is super stoked, and he's definitely throwing some shade in the direction of Cleveland, in the direction of – so I heard most people saying that it was really like LeBron that his comments were going after.
Right.
But I thought it was equally Tyronn Lue, to be honest. I mean, he basically said he was happy to be in a system.
Right,
under a coach.
That's a straight shot.
Coach.
That's a straight shot to a coach.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like Lou's gotten off a little lucky, to be honest. I feel like everyone's focused on the LeBron aspect.
I'm very surprised that he actually didn't. Out of all the people that got moved that needed to get moved, and the Cavs did a great job of dropping all the dead weight, why is Ty Lue still on this team? I really don't get that.
He's their scapegoat.
Kind of. Okay, back to the Jazz.
Fair.
Okay, they're doing great.
We'll talk about that.
We'll rip on the Cavs later. But I think it's huge. Like, Rubio dropped 34 in this streak. Mitchell dropped a 40 bomb. Goubert's just playing lockdown D. And Joe Ingles might be the most underrated white guy in the league.
He
really
is. He's the highest rated three-point shooter in the league right now. He's leading with 45.7 or something.
It's kind of disgusting. And over this streak, he's shooting 56% from three.
Yeah,
that's absurd. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's solid. I mean, even from the field, he's shooting 58% in 10 straight games.
They're so much worse without Ingles on the court.
Yeah, and it really doesn't make sense when you watch him because he's slow and he kind of look like he's a goofball out there, but he kills it on defense, and you can't leave him alone. It'd be if like Kyle Korver could play like lockdown D. It's kind of like what Ingles is.
So who is the nucleus that you guys see them building around?
Mitchell, Gobert, honestly probably Favors again now.
I don't know.
Do you think he's out?
I don't think he's out, but I don't think the Jazz have money to sign him long term. If they don't get someone big this offseason, like say they try to get Aaron Gordon, someone with super high potential, like he could be like, I could see his peak if he ever reached it could be like Sean Marion, like prime Sean Marion.
I mean,
and they would take a risk on it, but if they can't, then they'll sign like a 1 or 2 year deal with Favors because I don't see them paying him long term.
I don't think this offseason is going to be interesting because, like we've said before, not a lot of teams have cap, so not a lot of people are going to get paid what they probably should be getting paid.
This is going to be a great offseason for like 6 teams that have a crap ton of cap, and the market's going to be really small for like Aaron Gordon might not make max unless he stays with the Magic. Clint Capella might take 15 a year because he has to, because no one's going to offer him more.
Is Crowder? Is this like the end of his contract? Does he have a few more years left?
He has 2 years left.
I think it's 2.
So do you view him as part of like the nucleus you can build around, or is he more just like a supplemental piece that's a plus to have?
Oh, I'd say keep him. I mean, there's no reason not to take him off the bench. I'm not like a super high on Crowder guy, but he's a great guy to have off your bench.
You know what the Jazz mostly need to do?
What?
Keep those uniforms.
They do.
Never
really nice.
switch those uniforms. I was watching the game the other night after work, and that team, Crowder looks good in those jerseys. You know who looks better, though?
Who?
Rookie of the Year, Donovan Mitchell.
He probably will be Rookie of the Year.
I've got that in my notes as well.
I think that's going to be a good battle.
So are all three of us saying that's a swish for Mitchell, Rookie of Year?
I don't know. I think it's all recency bias, all these awards. So I really think if
Ben could still have some major push right at the end where he gets a couple triple-doubles here. I mean,
if Simmons ends with 18, 8, and 8, I think it's hard. And the Sixers make the playoffs, I almost think it's impossible Simmons can snag it. Because Simmons is Mitchell's averaging 19 a game, but that's really it. He's not getting assists, steals, block. He doesn't need blocks, but rebounds.
But wouldn't you say that the Rookie of the Year, if you're going to go off of record,
it's not really a record.
But say the Jazz don't make the playoffs, but they have a positive record. No one thought that was going to happen.
Right.
So wouldn't you say that's a little more impressive than the 76ers who are hanging out at this 8th seed right now, and they have Joel Embiid?
Well, that's I don't know. It's only picking Donovan Mitchell because it's kind of a surprise that Donovan Mitchell played this well because he was drafted 13th. Simmons was drafted 1. But I mean,
and Mitchell's the best player on his team,
right? Are you going to
Mitchell does have down games?
Are you going to hold Simmons against the award because he was drafted 1 and Simmons was drafted 13th?
No.
I feel like that's the only thing. We didn't expect anything like this from Mitchell.
I think it's such a tight race, and it's so cool that it's actually happening.
Yeah,
feels like it's been a while that it's been.
What do you think? What percentage do you think it could be a tie? First tie in 17 years
since Grant Hill and
Jason Kidd, yeah.
That would be really cool.
I'd be okay down with for that. I'd be cool with a tie. I don't know why.
Jason would too because he's a 76ers fan.
Naturally, I would be okay with that since I think Mitchell's going to get it. Now let's move on to what everyone is talking about ad nauseum, and we're going to be a part of it.
Ray Allen's golf game the other day?
Ray Allen's golf game. No, Cavs Celtics game, and all the sipping and swishing that surrounded it. So the Cavs won 121-99, basically with a brand new squad that had never played together. They defeated the Celtics, who at the time I think were number 1 in the East, either number 1 or number 2. There was also a retirement ceremony. There's a lot to discuss about Sunday's game. So Cavs swished, Celtics sipped. I don't think there's any debate there.
Nope.
Lucas, what are, I guess, your takeaways?
My favorite moment of that entire game, because I actually got to watch a little bit of it, was the first quarter, first few minutes, when LeBron and Kyrie went ISO against each other. That was the greatest little sequence. It was only for 40 seconds, but LeBron brings up the court, and the whole crowd just stands up and gets insane because the guy defending him is Kyrie. And this is about to be really fun. And LeBron bricks the shot. He just pulls up and he bricks it, and I kind of thought that was going to be the momentum for the rest of the game. So Kyrie gets the ball, he dribbles it up, and instantly the floor spreads. So it's a Kyrie versus LeBron, and he takes him baseline, he crosses over between the legs, and he step backs, and he pops one over LeBron. LeBron almost died. It was so great, and it just goes and it swishes, and I was like, all right, this game's over. That's the momentum killer 3 minutes into the game, and then the Celtics get crushed.
Their offense has been.
Did you break out your jump to conclusions, Matt? I mean,
yeah, I did.
3 minutes in.
3 minutes in, I thought it was
3 minutes in, the score is 12-4.
Well, that's how
Lucas is screaming dagger.
Dagger. I really was thinking about. Well, I was thinking the Suns were going to lose in the first 4 minutes last night, but it took them a quarter and a half to officially be down by 20. So
yeah, but differences in quality of gameplay on those teams. I mean, the Celtics, their offense is terrible recently.
Their young players have really tailed off.
They've hit the wall. They hit the rookie. They hit the
Tatum
sophomore.
has certainly hit that.
He hit the rookie wall.
And Jaylen Brown is definitely overperformed himself the beginning of the year, way too much. Where to the point people were like, he's the most versatile young guy in the league because he can play shooting guard, power forward, and small forward. He can do anything. It's no, Brad Stevens is just masking all of his weaknesses right now.
Jumping to conclusions nice and early. That's what we love about NBA fans.
That's the best. I wouldn't have it any other way, though.
But does this not show that Gordon Hayward is arguably the best player on that team?
That's what I was saying at the beginning of the year. They lost their best player. I know Kyrie's great on offense and probably better than Gordon Hayward, but like marginally, like they both averaged the same amount of points. So Gordon Hayward can play D a lot better, and he can actually facilitate better.
He's going to be their primary facilitator, and it's going to be really interesting.
It's going to be weird. Well, it's going to be that whole like Kyrie is the shooting guard again. He's just a mini shooting guard.
So sip or swish, there's any chance. Or, I'll take that back. Sip or swish, there's a reasonable chance we see Hayward this year. Ainge kind of left the door open.
No.
There were a lot of rumors, and a lot of like Boston fans are like, there's been grumblings. There's been actual reports of like Hayward's doing normal basketball things, but I wouldn't bet money he comes back because
he won't come back.
I think the organization knows this isn't their year. Like, I think
interesting.
I think it's like last year almost. Like, think about how similar this year and last year is. Kyrie's actually underperforming Isaiah Thomas last year, and by like 6 points a game, because Isaiah averaged almost 30 last year.
This is a really good year for the Celtics, and the fact that their rookie Jason Tatum gets so much experience, and Jaylen Brown gets so much more experience than they expected. They didn't expect either of these guys to be playing these minutes.
Right, it's really good for their growth.
It's good for their
growth.
They're not going to beat the Raptors.
They're not beating any of those teams. I don't know if they beat the Wizards, honestly. The Wizards have been playing really well, and those players that I thought weren't bench players are doing really well.
Wait till John Wall comes back, and then the Wizards will screw it all up.
Lucas, I believe there's something on your Lucas list that's touching on that. So let's not delve too deep there yet.
But think how deep this roster is with the Celtics.
Absolutely. No, there's no point in rushing Hayward back to potentially damage him in the future for a team that the future is brighter than the present.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. In 3 years, that Celtics squad is going to be silly.
Yeah, it's going to actually be like, holy crap, they have Jaylen Brown who can play three positions admirably, and they have Jason Tatum who can play the 3 and the 4. I don't know. I think Jason Tatum's totally overperformed right now. It's obvious, but...
Nick, sip or swish? The Cavs are back as the favorites in the East.
That's a good question. Very good question.
No. Sip. It's not true.
The Raptors are secretly elite. I think they'll be number 2. I think Celtics will drop to 3. Cavs move up to 2. Raptors are so elite. I don't think the Raptors starting 5 is played in like 6 games, actually. Like, the bench just comes in, and some guy named Van Fleet, and then there's Norman Powell, and this whole squad of...
Of course, Norman Powell. I have his name tattooed on my back.
Yeah. Did you know this stat? 11 Raptors are averaging more than 6 points a game.
It's never happened ever.
Yep.
It's never happened. Isn't that insane?
That's 11 players. That's everybody. That's almost everybody. Then there's a 12th guy who just is their water boy, but they pay him a couple million a year. So
it's going to be rough when they get into the playoffs, and if Kyle Lowry underperforms, that's going to be the issue.
That'd be so sad.
I will to take a side on this. I will absolutely sip that the Cavs are back as the favorite.
Yeah, I don't think they're the favorites.
I think this is a honeymoon phase for the Cavs.
For the Cavs?
It's a minuscule sample size, but I was higher on LeBron reaching the finals a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago than you guys were.
Right.
I've always had a hard time picturing an NBA Finals where LeBron's not representing the East.
I just think they're different. Like, they look different. Like,
they look fun.
They have young players that need to prove themselves that are incredibly streaky. Who is more streaky in the league than Clarkson and Rodney Hood off the bench? That's Clarkson
scary.
Could drop 20 or he could drop 3. Hood could go 0 for 11 or he could drop like 35 and a half.
The thing was, Clarkson recently has just been running our offense, and he's more of the off-ball scorer, give him the possession a little bit.
And by our offense, you mean the Lakers.
The Lakers offense. Yeah.
We own a squad.
The old squad. But, I mean, it was looking really good. I watched a couple of plays. LeBron, Nance pick and rolls were really cool because the Celtics just went straight in on it because both of those guys are going to dunk lights out.
Right.
And they just kicked it to Clarkson. Clarkson was wide open on the 3. Drained both of them in a row. 2 straight possessions. they get more of these kind of plays going for them, it's a bright future that they get out of the first round. I mean, LeBron's never lost in the first round, so I don't expect them to now.
All right, so we need to start wrapping up the first quarter. Oh, God. But the Paul Pierce retirement ceremony was after the game on Sunday. I think it's worth discussing quickly.
Right.
I believe Paul Pierce is a member of the Hall of Very Good.
That's fair.
He's a super solid player that was very clutch. I know in our pre-pod meeting I mentioned I saw him in person rip the heart out of my Sixers teams many times in the fourth quarter at the end of games. I don't know. Thoughts? Is Paul Pierce a little overrated?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a top 5 Celtic. I think that's just given.
Well, top 5 Celtics, hard.
Well, is he? He's not even like a top 50 player of all time. He's not top 75. I mean, he's won 1 chip. I don't really know. He was.
I think he does. I mean,
he definitely deserves this.
He deserves the jersey.
Oh, absolutely. He's Mr. Celtic, but it's not like they're building a stadium for him. Not a stadium, a statue. There's no statue of Paul Pierce happening.
No. But he was the guy who...
I'd have to go to Jalen Rose on that, who is the preeminent statue. And not historian. I don't know. He's very into statues. I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Yeah. For the second quarter this week, we're going to mix it up a little bit. The Lucas list is now moving to the second quarter. And this week, I'm going to give my hot takes of last week. Some of them are very controversial. Some of them aren't so much, but they're my hot takes. So the Raptors at number 1. The Raptors, Cavs, and Wizards are better than the Celtics right now. That's my hot take of this week. They have one playmaker on the team, and that's Kyrie Irving. I don't see how they stack up to those other 3 teams. And it's kind of looking like a first-round bump. Like, what if the Sixers get hot one game in round 1? They could bump them. Embiid goes off. Is Horford really going to defend Embiid?
You know it's a 7-game series, right?
Yeah. What do you mean? What did I say?
You just in one game? We got 6 more to go.
Okay. Well, I think
too hot.
Embiid, if Embiid's going to play a 7-game series, he has no back-to-backs. He's playing every game. He's bumping. He's going to hurt Horford. There's no way Horford's going to stop Embiid. You know, it's.
I agree there, but I disagree with your take. I'm happy that I disagree with your take.
Oh, I disagree with it too. Excellent.
And I specifically disagree that the Celtics are better than the Wizards. And
me too.
What a shock. Kyrie has championship experience. Kyrie knows how to win. And honestly, the Wizards don't. When it really matters, the Wizards don't know how to win. It's got to be like a show me and I'll believe it. But until then, I think the Celtics. So
do you put Cavs and Raptors over the Celtics? Is it just the Wizards on this list?
I absolutely put the Cavs and Raptors over the Celtics. As I kind of said in the last quarter, I still think Cavs are the favorite in the East, and I think the Raptors are honestly a very, very good team this year.
I put the Raptors as my favorite in the East over the Cavs. I think, like I just said, the Cavs are in their honeymoon phase. Seeing how the rest of the season will play out for them, you know, I know J.R. Smith says they're all best friends and they hang out every single day, but that locker room was cancer a couple weeks ago. We can see if it goes back to that way. Because something was wrong there. If they got rid of everyone who was the problem there, I'd be excited. But no, the Celtics are better than the Wizards. And, I mean, the Cavs just beat them down, but...
Think about, though, the depth of the Celtics and how much is lacking right now. Like, they play Marcus Morris at the 4.
The best Morris of the
They have Horford. They have Tatum, Brown, and Kyrie. And then off the bench, they have Terry Rozier and Marcus Smart, who's injured right now, so all they have is Terry. Name the rest of the bench.
I don't think I could.
I choose not to.
They're all, like, discrete, weird foreign players. Like, they're actually really thin.
You keep your xenophobia to yourself.
Greg Monroe's on the bench.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
Greg Monroe is so terrible.
He scores points.
Marginally at 5.
Lucas,
Buckets.
let me follow up with this. Out of the 4 teams we're discussing, who has the best coach?
The Celtics.
Exactly.
Shout out to, Dwayne Casey, though. It's got to be given some.
Fair enough.
He's been hot for the past 3 years.
Although I will, in a little sense, last year's playoffs, the Celtics almost got bumped by the Bulls.
In the first round?
First round.
Yeah.
And
if Rondo played, the Celtics would have been out.
Oh, God. I miss Rondo. He needs to come to the East.
You guys love Rondo way too much.
He's so good. He just had a monster triple-double, too. Okay, so my second hot take is the Jazz will make the 7th seed. Okay? They have the second easiest remaining schedule in the league. The Clippers are just bound to fall off with no real go-to option outside of Lou, who, as a career, has been incredibly streaky. Is this just like a small sample size, still like half a season in comparison to his whole career? It's a small sample size. He could just be hot for like 3 months. He could tail off.
Right, I buy that Lou Williams is as good as he's looked.
Right.
I'm also just going to buy this hot take, honestly. There are only 2 losses behind the Clip, New Orleans and Denver, who all have the same amount of losses for the 7th seed. And none of those teams are great teams.
No.
We just talked in the first quarter about everything that the Jazz are doing right. I think winning 10 in a row to get back over 500 is a serious, serious accomplishment. I don't know how many times that's ever been done when you think about, obviously you were 10 games below 500.
Right.
But like when you think about what it takes to win 10 to get over 500, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm buying it. I like this take.
They're going to win 11 because they have to play the Suns next, and that's just a gimme win now.
Lucas's Suns. Sipping
Can
forever.
Booker come back? If Booker's back, this team actually competes. If they don't have Booker, it's over.
Oh, they're really bad.
Alfred Payton, though, killed it last night, though. I'm telling you, he murdered it. I watched the whole game, and it was sad to watch.
He may have scored points, but someone had to.
No, he did it really well. He was freaking killing Curry.
So, Nick, are you buying this take? Selling it?
I'm looking at the standings right now.
Look at the Pelicans. Pelicans are bound to fall off.
That's the team I'm looking at, and
but they have to jump two spots in the standings.
So they're a game and a half back of being tied with the Pelicans and the Nuggets. They're both tied at 30 and 26. The Nuggets and the Pelicans. I can see them making maybe the 8th seed.
Well,
Nick's not buying it.
I'm not buying the full 7th seed, but the 8th seed, that'd be cool. I would love Utah there.
I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a fun matchup against the Warriors.
Mostly because I want to see those jerseys in the playoffs.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Plus, one of the best home court advantages in the NBA. So it's always nice to have them in the playoffs for that reason.
Yeah, we'll take Utah and Denver in there. Both those strong home court advantages. Love it.
So for my third hot take, I have the Rockets would win a 7-game series against the Warriors. This one I'm just endlessly smiling at because I don't know if I 100% believe, but I want it to happen. This is my I want to happen hot take. And you know what? I have a little information to back myself up.
Oh, God.
Their rest of the season schedule is incredibly easy. So they could actually make that 1 seed. You know?
Wait, are you talking the Rockets? Or
the Rockets.
Okay.
The Rockets could steal that 1 seed, which could be fun for them. They could beat up like the Jazz or something real fast. But they're 2-1 against the Warriors this year. Their first game of the season, you can't really take the first game of the season as like a big indicator, but they beat them. The second game of the season, they beat them pretty heavily. That last 3 minutes was James Harden murdering Curry. I think he hit 2 back-to-back threes on Curry's face to clinch that game. This is Harden's year of being like fighting for that number 1 player in the league argument. I think that
he'll be MVP.
I think he will, but I mean, this is it. If there's any magic, sports magic for James Harden, it's this year, and it would be against this top 5 team of all time. I believe in sports magic because I'm an Eagles fan, and I just saw it.
Fair. Nick, could you toss me a beer? Would you mind?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So, Lucas, I also had in my notes here that I feel actually moderately confident the Rockets will be the number 1 seed in the West.
I could see that. I really could see it.
The finals,
however, I disagree that they're better or that they'll make the finals instead of Golden State. Kind of like the Wizards, it's a put up or shut up thing for me with them. You have Harden and CP3, whose playoff histories are dubious at best.
Yep.
I mean, really not great. We've talked about it on this pod before, so I don't feel the need to go into any great detail there.
Right.
But I'm going to need to see it to believe it. I don't believe that in a 7-game series, those two can carry the Rockets past Golden State.
Do you not remember Chris Paul's 40-20 championship year?
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for that hottest take of 11th grade. That was great. But I mean, think of their benches though. Like Warriors bench is Sean Livingston, who's well past his prime. Iguodala's past his prime, and then they have second-year Patrick McCaw. They have their rookie Jordan Bell, who they're actually not really playing anymore because he's not that good.
Everyone's least favorite, Zaza
Pachulia. They have Javal McGee, and Nick Young is ice cold this year. So, like, the Rockets bench of Eric Gordon, now they have Gerald Green, who's really hot, Nene. They just picked up Joe Johnson, ISO Joe, and then they just picked up Brandon Wright off the buyout deadline too. Like, they have an actually deep bench where their second unit could just like wipe the floor with like the Magic or the Suns right now.
It's so hard for me to agree with you on this because I just don't see Steph Curry.
You're just such a negative
Thompson
Nancy today.
And Durant losing to like Jason said, I don't believe in James Harden in the playoffs. I believe more in Chris Paul, but James Harden.
He's the ultimate choke artist. Do you believe in Chris Paul more than Harden?
I mean, have you watched Harden the last couple of years?
Yeah, but he was by himself.
It's not just the last couple. It goes back to OKC.
Oh, that one really hurts, though.
That finals. No, I don't think the Rockets are going to get out. But Rockets-Raptors would be really cool because it'd be different.
I would love a Rockets-Raptors.
I would take it over the Golden State Cleveland Sports Network.
All right, so for my fourth hot take, I have Miami will not make the playoffs. And I think this is something like they completely overachieved for like a month and a half straight. You know, they probably had like a 75% win ratio. And now they're just going to like teeter off because star power is about to hit them. Like, I think for this final stretch of the season, like, this is when star power really hits in, you know. And the Sixers are going to make the playoffs. They're going to bump them. The Pistons, I feel like, have a better chance of making the playoffs. They have star power. It just doesn't feel – I have no feeling in my heart that actually the Heat want to make the playoffs, to be honest.
The Flash is back, though.
Yeah, but I'm kind of over that. I mean, I was never a huge D-Wade fan because he was always a douche, but I just don't like – we're going to censor that.
Yeah, we've said worse.
But
although, man, taking on D-Wade.
I don't know. I just don't think they have enough.
He took my boys Dirk's second title.
Yeah, but who's their best player? Dragic? Whiteside? Whiteside can't.
No, Dragic.
Dragic's their best player. Whiteside can't create his own shot.
Whiteside's there just to get those 3 blocks a game.
He's there to get his monster checks.
Yeah.
And get his 2K rating up.
So I agree, and I agree because I think Detroit will overtake Miami.
I think so.
And I don't see any of the other teams falling back behind.
No, Miami's falling down. They're the 8th seed right now. What, 2 weeks ago they were the 3rd seed?
Yeah, they were the 4th seed. Yeah.
Yeah, 4th seed. They're almost the 3rd. They've lost a few. There's no... I mean, Detroit's got a couple of games. They got that little buffer, but Miami's just playing bad. They're not playing good basketball. They're gonna fall out.
Man, I wish they would just fire Eric Spoelstra and he would come to the Suns.
Stop it.
Oh, I'd love that so much.
Your organization is going to throw itself into the black hole.
Was that the first hot take that we've all actually agreed on?
Yep. I'm trying to keep record here.
Consensus.
We have consensus.
We have a consensus.
So my last hot take is kind of a big one for NBA fans out there. Derrick Rose is going to retire after this year. And he might retire in a week.
Agreed.
I don't really see much of Derrick Rose left in a future. I really don't. I mean, a team like there are rumors that the Timberwolves might sign him. But
I saw one other team as well. Did either of you see that? I'm trying to remember.
I heard there were two teams. Windhorst said there were two teams wanting D Rose, but I don't really know what that second team would. Who desperately needs a backup point guard? I mean, like the Wizards.
Sacramento Kings.
It was the Wizards.
Wizards?
Yeah, it was the Wizards.
That makes sense.
The Wizards. If you went to the Wizards, that's fine, but it's also like it doesn't feel like an MVP's end. Like D Wade wants to end his career in Miami. You know, all these guys want to go back to home. Vince Carter's going to go back to whatever, Toronto next year. It's going to happen. He should go back to Chicago, but I don't think he's welcome there. I just don't see him have like if you think of a casual fan, like think of New York Knicks fans. Like he averaged 18, 4 and 4 for the Knicks. That's acceptable. That's very respectable. That's a respectable seed. You know, and for a guy that everyone was like he was down, he was away from the team, but he was still producing. And then he went to the Cavs on a vet min, and it was like, he didn't really do anything. He started off really well and then teetered off, and then had like family issues and then got married spontaneously. And so it was like he has so many off the court issues that I think it's like, okay, you've made your Adidas money. You've made those checks. You've done your time in the league. You are an MVP.
$60 million left in Adidas money.
So if he retires, he loses $60 million. But I don't.
It might not be his choice, to be honest. I mean, there's not a lot of interest around the league in Derrick Rose.
Exactly. I don't know. At this point, his value is what? Is it close to Isaiah Thomas right now?
Like
worse.
Worse
than Isaiah?
Isaiah's way more.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose might be
his peak is like some teams like we're kind of contenders. Let's see what kind of D Rose magic.
I don't think if you're a contender at all, you try it. I think if you're a cellar dweller and you just need to sell some tickets.
I bet the Wizards make that call though. Like the Wizards are like, I want D Rose off the bench in the playoffs. I'd take that call because right now their backup is like Tim Frazier.
I think it's risky, man. I really think it's risky because I hate to say it because I really like D Rose and I think it's one of the saddest stories in the NBA of all time.
I think so too.
But I think he's proven he could go AWOL at any moment.
I think he could. He could just leave the team. He ran away from the Knicks for like 2 weeks. Didn't tell a single.
He didn't even show up to that one game, and he got fined for it.
Yeah.
So do you really want to bring that to the Wizards, who
they're so
delusionally think that they have a chance?
Well, that's why
in their head they're the best team in the league. I mean, I don't know how you guys don't see that they're the best.
Stop it. Stop the madness. So what do you guys think? You guys agree with me?
That he'll retire this year?
Yeah, he'll retire at the end of this year.
No. One more year.
One more year. All right.
I'll give him one more.
Welcome to the third quarter. Garbage time. The three of us get to talk about something near and dear to our hearts, something that's been bothering us, just anything we really want to get off our chest. I'm going to start it off this week. And several Suns players have called it, several of Lucas's Suns players called something from yesterday's game disrespectful. Now, what was that something? Steve Kerr let some of the Golden State Warriors players draw up a few plays and play coach, if you will, during timeouts of Monday's game against the Suns. Let's look at this. Let's take a step back. It was a 129 to 83 point victory for Golden State. So it wasn't. Yeah, just start sipping.
I need another beer to sip way more. I watched the whole game. I deserve a 30 rack.
Ugh. So it wasn't highly contested by any stretch. And I, as well as a lot of others, took exception to the fact that several Suns players called it disrespectful that Kerr let Draymond, Iggy, I think even one or two other players
stepped at it, and he messed up. He kept writing KD down instead of KT for Klay Thompson, and he did that so much that they got a delay of game to start off the second half.
So Curry's future as a coach definitely in question.
It's not incredibly questionable.
But so guys, Suns players, what are you doing? You're professional athletes. Steve Kerr is the coach of Golden State. He has no obligation to you whatsoever. This isn't, JV high school basketball where like, oh, poor guys, you're getting demoralized and Steve Kerr's running up the points. Get over it. It made me think. I've been going back and watching Mad Men from the beginning. And there was a quote, and this isn't perfect apples to apples, but mostly I just wanted to talk about Mad Men also. This isn't perfect apples to apples. But
the elevator quote?
No, although a great quote. So Don Draper's talking to Peggy Olson, and Peggy Olson is very upset with him. She's like, you never say thank you for anything I do. And he goes, that's what the money's for. You don't need to say thank you, and no one needs to be polite to these guys, especially not from a different organization. Suns players, cash your checks, act like grown-ups, and guess what? Effing play better. You guys are an embarrassment. It's disrespectful to the quality of standards in the NBA. And not that I necessarily blame the players, but the Suns franchise. You're what's disrespectful. You're disrespectful to the standard of quality in the association. You've lost 6 times now by 30-plus points. Get your act together. Shut your mouths. Jared Dudley, that goes double for you.
All right. We need to address
the worst plus-minus in the league,
all
too.
of this.
You guys lose by over 9 points a game.
Okay, all right.
Very strong.
Let's field 3 20-year-olds in a starting lineup versus the 5th greatest team of all time. This is absurd. What do you think is going to happen? Steve Kerr does not play every night. I'm not complaining. I don't think...
I'm talking about your players.
Dudley complains about everything, though. That's just what he does. He's just Jared Dudley. He's making $12 million a year, and he's just sitting on the bench. He doesn't even play. He played a third of the games, and he just complains on Twitter. That's just what he's there for. Troy Daniels is kind of a bitch, though. He always does that sort of thing. Like, he talks shit to everybody. Booker, literally every single person in the league. So I would definitely take them with a grain of salt, but Josh Jackson really got cold last night. I think he shot like 2 for 15.
He shot real bad.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I think I just liked it, though. Like, I liked watching him play compared to the other players because it was like Bender is starting to be aggressive, but it's like the biggest difference I see between like the Suns and Lakers prospects right now. Like, Bender has so much potential. He's a 7'2" big guy that can do all these dribble moves, but the thing is he's not aggressive. He doesn't try to do anything aggressive.
Are you saying the Lakers are aggressive, or are you just?
I'm saying the Lakers' young players are more aggressive.
Oh, okay, good.
So Marquise Chris is not aggressive. Bender's not aggressive. Who is aggressive is Booker and Jackson. Jackson, I just like his aggressiveness.
My favorite of your young players. I'm not even counting Booker or Warren. Bender is probably my favorite, and then probably Jackson.
Jackson's my favorite if you don't count Booker.
Talk about your all-the-time topical hijacks.
Well, right now, the Suns suck right now, and I don't know what to do because Booker's not even playing. If Booker doesn't play, this team doesn't score 90 points.
How did my garbage time go from bashing the Suns being a bunch of babies to you complimenting what you like about the Suns right now?
Because everyone destroys the Suns, and I just want them to be...
I think they destroy themselves.
I think it's disrespectful.
No.
You're disrespectful to me, Lucas. Nick, take the rest of my garbage time. Nick's... I'm
going to start throwing stuff.
You guys are actually technically have a worse record than the Kings, just so you know.
Yeah, we're second in the tank rank.
That's impressive.
Yo, if we get that Aton out of U of A,
it's
worth it.
Blah, blah, blah. All right, we're going to my garbage time.
Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
Nick Reed, garbage time.
So I was laying in bed last night, and I thought of something. Is there a black hole theory for NBA teams where they just cannot get out of this? Let's tank for the lottery. Let's just keep being bad for the lottery. Does being the worst team in the league really pay off ever? My answer? No. It does not. Of the last 10 years, 4 teams have actually gotten the first overall pick. Including last year when the Suns, the second worst team in the league, got the 4th pick.
That's happened like 3 years in a row that we've gotten the 4th pick.
Yeah, it's bad. Two years in a row you guys have gotten the 4th pick. And only once has it ever paid off. The top 5 teams have gotten their picks straight in a row. I went all the way back to 2007. The East is 4 games worse on average than the West every single year for the last decade. Now, hit or miss. But I was actually surprised. The Magic have always been really bad. The 76ers were bad for 4 years to the point that it was disgusting.
Felt like a lot longer than 4 years.
It felt forever, but the Nets are the only Eastern Conference team in the last decade to be the worst team twice.
Really?
Everyone else has only done it once. And I was amazed. I couldn't believe it. Now, the West, you got the Timberwolves.
They were bad for a while.
3 times. And they even skipped a couple of years.
3 times as the worst?
As the worst, and the Suns followed up as twice. As the worst.
Lucas's Suns.
Lucas's Suns.
Is this just going to be garbage time I have to defend my team?
Maybe. But I went through and it just doesn't make sense. There was the BS where the Cavs in 2014 got the first overall pick by 1.9 or 1.4% chance.
It's all conspiracy.
When the Bulls got Derrick Rose, they were the 9th worst team. When the Clippers got Blake Griffin, they were the 8th worst team. These are the 3 outliers that jumped out the most. John Wall's Wizards were close. They got the 5th worst. And the Trailblazers getting Greg Oden, which sucks to be them. They were the 6th worst team. They didn't deserve to get him. And I really wanted this theory to be right, but it just wasn't. Because the 76ers got the 3rd pick 2 straight years. The Wizards got the 3rd pick 2 straight years. But there are so many moves, so many bad trades that teams have made. There's just this 5 to 6 year lull that every franchise goes through.
Right.
And the only team that I don't see getting out of it soon, the Orlando Magic.
Let me play devil's advocate. If you are a terrible franchise, completely poorly run, how do you get out of this rut? Players don't want to go to you. Good players won't even get overpaid by you because they know they'll ruin their careers. There's even role players at times will take a pay cut to not be with you.
To not be with you, Orlando Magic.
Right. So what do you do except go full hinky and trade your entire team for picks? There's a whole thing.
The Seattle Super Magic.
You could be the super.
I'm pitching this. I'm not going away from it. Every podcast I'm talking about the Seattle Super Magic.
But those top 3 picks are so valuable. It goes a 75% chance to getting a Hall of Fame All-Star with the 1st pick in the draft. Because I remember doing this whole thing for Fansided because I wanted the whole year the Suns were doing terrible. I wrote for them about how valuable a first-round draft pick is, a first pick. The first pick in the draft, 75% of the time, becomes a Hall of Famer. Then it drops to 47 with the 2nd pick, and then it kicks back up to like 52. But those 3 picks, you have a flip of the coin. You got 50% chance, basically, that you're getting a Hall of Famer. Those are so valuable. For a franchise that can't get any free agents, you need to take a risk like that, right? You need to get a top 3 player.
The point is, being the worst team doesn't pay off to the first pick. Being the bottom,
that was basically like the conclusion of your research.
You have a 60% chance to getting the number 1 pick.
That's just bad luck at that point, right? Because you do bad to get a better.
But now they're changing the draft.
Now it's going to be different. Right?
So leading to this, looking back, it really never made sense to be the worst team. You're like, oh, I have that 25% chance, but in the last 3 years, it's worked.
Right. Like, yes, we acknowledge that it's a statistical anomaly, but also, yes, it didn't benefit.
It didn't work. Right. I agree. I don't think a team should purposely tank. I don't think that's a good thing unless, like, you've traded away so many assets that you're basically doing, like, a Nets trade.
And I think it's a great change by the league to change the odds.
I think it's going to be fun. I like that change a lot.
Is it the bottom 5 or is it still the bottom 4 that gets the equal?
No, it's bottom 5.
Bottom 5. I think the bottom 5 because that's what I looked at. Bottom 5.
I don't think it starts this year. I think it's next year though.
It's not this coming year. It's the following year because that's the reason the Hawks are in tankathon mode.
Oh, they're so tankathon mode. It's gonna be disgusting.
I'm sorry. The Suns are still gonna get the 4th pick.
God damn it. All right, so for my garbage time, I have NBA medical staff misdiagnoses are becoming way too frequent. And they're actually coming to light way more than in the past. The big 3 misdiagnosed injuries this year have been what? Isaiah Thomas, he was misdiagnosed. Kawhi Leonard has been rumored to be misdiagnosed by the infamous greatest franchise ever, the Spurs. And Markelle Fultz was misdiagnosed. I firmly believe that one. That is a rumor now speculating that he's been misdiagnosed, and I think it's true. But in the past, when you think about...
I think we misdiagnosed his potential in the draft.
Should have gotten Lonzo.
But when you think about it, like in the past, it was hush-hush when a team misdiagnosed you. Like, you wouldn't talk about that because you wouldn't try to harm a franchise's
There was a lot more protective.
Yeah, it was protecting the franchise. You know, you wanted the image. But, like, Kwame Brown accused the 76ers of misdiagnosing an ankle injury. Was it really? Like, thinking about that player, I don't really want to believe him because he really didn't perform enough for me to be like, I believe you.
Right.
Do we actually believe the 76ers have a medical staff? Or is it just like...
That's another question.
They go to the back out and go, check out this guy's ankle for us, can you?
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so, like, the biggest player in history that's happened to was Grant Hill. And he was touted out of the draft as literally the next Jordan. And he kind of did it. He averaged 26 points, 7 assists, 5 boards a game before he was done. Like, that was his prime season. But he went down with an ankle injury halfway through that year, and Detroit said that he had a bone bruise. And then game 2 against Miami that year, it surfaced that he actually broke his ankle, and they were just juicing him up with, like, morphine. I almost said heroin.
I thought you said heroin was...
It's morphine.
Right, you can play basketball on morphine. You can play the trumpet, saxophone on heroin, sure. Maybe even the upright bass. But running up and down a basketball court on heroin?
Yeah, okay, so it's not heroin. But now think about now, like 3 humongous players' images have been shattered because of medical staffs have made huge mistakes. Isaiah Thomas averaged 29 points a game last year. They diagnosed him with a groin strain, except he actually tore he had a labral tear, which I guess is significantly worse and you should be shut down for like 8 months, except he played in the playoffs. Except he played the entire playoff series and then came back too early, and then the Cavs had to actually shut him down and then brought him back too early because he refused to go to the G League. Like, that whole situation was botched by both medicals. The Cavs fired the entire training staff after
Lucas,
that debacle.
From everything you looked at, do you have an opinion as to whether or not these medical staffs are incompetent or if they are deliberately misdiagnosing?
I think at some point it's almost pressure from the top to say, like,
ready.
So not necessarily incompetent then.
I don't think it's incompetent. Well, I think it's irresponsible. Because I think
the other I word, yes.
I think medical staff should have to step up and say, we're taking a stand, this player should not play. For the health of his player and to, like, solidify my job. I'm saying no. You can fire me, but he should not play.
Should they go to outside doctors?
I think
should
absolutely.
It honestly be a
they should go the John Wall route and get, like, 3rd opinions, 4th opinions. John Wall had so many opinions before he had his surgery, and he was like, yeah, I got, like, my agent got text messages being like, oh, you didn't trust me as a doctor? Like, you can't come back anymore. And John Wall's like, well, I'm going to get a second opinion if I'm taking a 2-month hiatus from basketball.
As you should, being a professional sports player. You should get as many opinions as you think fit to say, okay, I broke my ankle. Fix it the way you need to. But, you know, NBA medical staff has been touted as this outstanding, top-of-the-line field to keep players on the court. And it's obviously not. Besides maybe the Pheonix Suns, who brought Grant Hill back to being a player.
Came back to being, like, all-star.
Most players go to Phoenix because they have a medical staff there that cares.
Right. Think about Kawhi Leonard. He was diagnosed in the playoffs with a partial quad tear. That diagnosis, according to all those WebMD websites I went to today and yesterday, they all said a partial quad tear takes 20 days to 2 months to repair.
Lucas isn't a doctor, but he plays.
I'm not a doctor. I'm going to play a doctor.
Dr. Lucas.
Dr. Lucas says that a partial quad tear for Kawhi Leonard has taken way too long. He should be playing. I mean, we're like 3 months removed from an entire year of Kawhi Leonard not playing basketball. That's wrong. And then all the rumors came out about him wanting out of San Antonio, which I instantly believed wasn't true because I believe San Antonio is a good place. I kind of believe it. If he's sitting there being like, I want to play, I was told that it was only a partial tear, he's probably paranoid. If you think of him as a person, he's probably paranoid. He's probably going on WebMD once. He probably checked these websites and said, why am I not playing? Why can't the staff say, I can't play anymore?
For our listeners out there, if you're ever needing a medical
don't go to
scenario,
WebMD.
Don't go to WebMD. Go to an actual doctor who spent 12 years of their life.
But don't go to an NBA doctor.
Right, maybe not one that has a vested interest.
Don't go to the 76ers doctor, okay? Welcome to the fourth quarter. It's the All-Star edition of the fourth quarter. We're not going to pick any regular season basketball games. We're going to pick some events for the upcoming All-Star weekend. A palooza, we'll call it.
The All-Star Palooza.
Weekend a palooza.
Extravaganza.
The All-Star game is in the fabulous city of Los Angeles this year.
God,
so, you know, best city.
It's so dirty.
It's dirty, whatever, but
it has the best tacos.
It's got some good
tacos. LA has amazing tacos.
Have you ever been to Tucson? It is a dirty place, but they make tacos good.
I've never been to Tucson, but I really
You guys are taking over my fourth quarter.
I do like the tacos in Phoenix.
We're getting to the skills challenge, all right.
Sorry.
So we will post...
Talk about tacos for 10 minutes.
We probably would. We will post the lineup of each team and each event. So we're going to start off with the skills challenge. It's going to be Spencer Dinwiddie, Joel Embiid, Al Horford, Lauri Markkanen,
yeah, pronounce it.
Buddy Hield, Jamal Murray, Andre Drummond, Lou Williams. A nice combination of big men, guards. You know, Lucas, probably the most prepared for this quarter. Who are you going for?
You know, I'm a huge fan of this guy now. Completely committed because he goes toe-to-toe with Booker all the time. I'm going with Jamal Murray. He can dance. He really can cross over people. He has all the skills. He can throw it down. He can pass the ball. He can shoot. He's got the triple moves. I'm going with Jamal. I love the Nuggets, but they're like right now they're the Suns' best rival. But I love the Nuggets. I love Jamal Murray.
The Nuggets are a rival, but the Nuggets are in the playoffs, and the Suns are the 14th seed.
Yeah, but every Nuggets-Sun game ends in a fight. Like it just does.
And the Nuggets winning by 30.
Beat them by 30.
28.
I will go Lou Williams. Because he's like the quintessential, just like career sixth man. And I feel like a skills challenge is just like perfect for that type of player. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
It's kind of that like slightly oddball part of All-Star Weekend.
It's his season too. Like
yeah, the season of Lou.
If Sweet Lou is gonna win anything, it's gonna be this whole season. And my heart.
I see you both went for guards, and you're wrong. Guards are not the most skilled players anymore. It's all about the big man. It's about Joel Embiid. He's going to dominate.
No.
He's going to dominate it.
He's going to fumble the whole thing for Twitter tweets.
So I may not have told you guys beforehand. It's All-Star Weekend. We're going to have a good next Wednesday. It's a beer or shot of your choice per event.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going big.
Goodness.
We're going big.
Beer or a shot of your choice.
Of your choice.
Per event.
Per event.
Oh, good Lord.
I feel like I don't 100% follow that. Can you clarify?
So you have to, like, drink a beer if you lose?
Yeah,
so
if you
for
lose.
every event, you have to drink if you pick the right person?
Oh,
we have like a 1 in 7 chance of winning any of these events.
It's
like the skills challenge, there's 7 people.
Right.
Well, if we all lose, we're all going to be having a good time.
All right, it's All-Star Weekend, I guess. It's good.
It's a festival for the NBA.
What a surprise.
A festival la Palooza.
Festival a la Palooza, Los Angeles. We're going to the three-point contest, starring the reigning champion, Eric Gordon. Then there's Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal, Paul George.
Eric Gordon won it last year?
I'm pretty sure he won it last year.
Wasn't it Klay? Or was that the year before?
I think it was the year before.
Yeah, it was the year before because
Eric Gordon was last year. Kyle Lowry, Devin Lucas Booker, Wayne Ellington, and Tobias Harris. The last two I don't even count because they've been so bad from the 3-point contest. From the 3-pointer this year.
Is Booker going to actually participate?
Isn't Tobias shooting like 40 almost?
Not recently.
One question at a time.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. That's
Booker
why
should be there.
He's going to be there. I didn't pick Booker just because I didn't think he was actually going to play. I think the last minute, he has I'm pretty sure he broke a rib. They're saying he has a rib injury. I'm pretty sure it's...
Did they misdiagnose it?
I'm pretty sure it's broken.
They need more veteran leadership on that medical staff.
They don't need any more veteran leadership near this team. I'm going with Paul George. He's shooting the exact same amount as Steph Curry right now. In actual shots, attempt, and made right now is Steph Curry. And what are you doing with my phone?
The shot.
Oh, right, I see.
Penance from last week's poor picks.
Forgot about.
All right, so you're taking Paul George.
Yep.
Which is a silly.
He's shooting Steph Curry. It'd be like rooting for Steph Curry right now. Why is this shot so dark?
I'll go Clay just because I really don't have – I don't know. I don't have strong feelings in any direction, and I feel like he's the safe pick.
He won it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You have to slide it.
I got that. Oh, my God. You know who I'm going for? And I hate myself for this.
You know, Booker?
Bradley Beal.
Really?
God.
Yeah. I'm just feeling it.
You're a monster.
I am a monster,
I guess
but
he's kind of hot right now.
He's kind of hot. He's carrying his team. He's
an egomaniac that's going to get – his ego's going to blow up during this contest.
That's why he's going to hit every single three-pointer that
miss every single shot.
His shot is going to look like Markelle Fultz's after this. He's going to be so damaged.
Don't wish that upon anybody.
Who's that guy?
No, fair. I actually don't wish that upon Bradley Beal.
Who's that one guy? The little guy, Hart? Is that his name? He beat Draymond
Kevin
Green.
Hart. Yeah,
Hart
he's shooting worse.
Shot Draymond Green.
And Draymond Green now shooting 30% from three.
His career shooting percentage dropped significantly after losing.
It's silly. Okay.
Draymond Green's my least favorite player.
I hate him.
We'll move on to the dunk contest. We're going to power through these. So it's Victor Oladipo, Cleveland's Larry Nance Jr., because I have to, not put any bias there. Dennis Smith Jr. and Donovan Mitchell. Who are you picking, Jason?
Donovan Mitchell.
Ooh,
that's
okay.
A good pick.
That is
throw it down.
His dunk the other day
was so
oh my God. In that uni.
Yeah.
He looked fire. Just saying. Lucas?
I'm picking Oladipo. I really think he just did a 360 reverse dunk the other in game. I don't know. I'm picking Oladipo.
It's so hard for me to pick the big man.
The big men don't win.
They don't win.
You don't see the big men when they jump. It doesn't look as cool as seeing a little guy jump. That's the whole point.
I always thought it was cool that the Blake Griffin dunk over the Kia wasn't supposed to be a Kia.
No,
it was supposed to be some sports car that was much lower. But since Kia is sponsored by the NBA or sponsors the NBA,
and I think he was directly sponsored by Kia too.
And he was like, oh, okay, now I have to jump over this big car, and I had this smaller car.
He was really worried about that.
He was going to have his friends in the car. It would have been so cool.
I think it was like a convertible. And
You're stalling.
You want to pick Nance, but don't.
Dennis Smith Jr. I'm going to go for it.
Dennis Smith Jr., wow.
I really don't want any of us to pick the same player, and there's no reason we should.
That's good.
I like, switching it up. So... it's the All-Star game. Team LeBron versus Team Steph. I'm not going to go through all these players because there's a lot. Some change up for LeBron. He had a lot of injuries.
Dude, his All-Star team looks kind of nothing like it originally did.
Before it looked fantastic. Steph Curry played the long game, not picking injured players.
What a strategy.
What a fabulous strategy.
People were just jumping in front of buses to not play with LeBron.
Lucas, who are you going with?
I'm still going with Team LeBron because a team of LeBron and Kevin Durant
is
honestly dumb. It doesn't even matter what the rest of the team is. You have two of the top three players in the league, two of the top three players in the league for the past 5 years on the same team. It's just gonna be that. I was kind of thinking of looking at both teams and thinking which player is just gonna go off for fun. But that team also has Westbrook.
And it's got Paul George and Drummond.
Like, that team also has players who can be like, fuck this, I'm going to go off. Going off. You know, like, it has that team.
I feel like we still have never really, like, discussed if dropping F-bombs was okay.
Lucas is going for it today.
I said that.
I know. I like it. Whatever. We're going to go with it. Bill Simmons does it, so...
He does it all the time.
Fuck it.
Well said. I will, maybe for the sake of just intrigue, if nothing else, I definitely was Team LeBron as originally constituted. I'm going to go Team Steph because I think it's probably a little hungrier. I think that these are players that want it a little more. Like, when it comes down to
How cool is Giannis, James Harden, Steph Curry?
It's just cooler also.
DeMar, Karl Anthony Towns. This team is so much more fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Cat baby. And somehow I put the list as all the people with K at the bottom for Team Steph. I don't know why. But.
Yeah, but did you know the winning team wins $100,000 like each?
And the losing team only wins 25 Gs.
Yeah.
I did know that because it's silly.
I think isn't it like credited towards charity though? I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's like a pocketed thing.
I really want to say something about that was right, but I don't remember what it was. But I know players make money off this game. If they get into
the players make money, the winning team gets to pick a charity. I'm pretty sure.
I think that it's might equal, be the equal payout.
So
gets to the charity.
They'll donate like $1.2 million, but then it's
because like last year, didn't Curry do some like 3-point shot?
Every three he made was
like a certain amount of
$1,000 or
charity or something. He bricked every single shot, and it was fantastic.
I loved it.
Who are you taking, Nick?
I'm taking Steph. I was hoping you would actually take LeBron, so I just feel alone and I could fight you guys. But I'm going to go with Steph because I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's about it. So we're going to go to the World versus USA game. Interesting key point that I saw when I was making these lists up. Team World has 3 players of the Philadelphia 76ers.
You know where I'm going.
And Team USA has 3 players of the Los Angeles Lakers. So I'm just going to, make an assumption that Jason's going with World and I'm going with USA.
That's a fact.
So, Lucas, the only outlier because, I don't see...
Hey, Lucas's Suns.
It's been a rough half of the podcast for the Suns.
Do you see a Sun on there? I don't see a Phoenix Sun on there.
Josh Jackson should be there over Taurean Prince or whatever his stupid name is. I was really on the fence about this pick. I
think we've harassed Lucas into just being like mean now.
He's dropping F-bombs. He's going all over the podcast.
What happens? But I was like, I'm super on the fence about USA versus World because I looked way too hard at these rosters. I want to root USA just because, I love chanting USA.
USA.
Don't think they chant USA ever. But, like, USA has guard heavy. They're going to hit threes. Like, this game is just jacking threes. But this game, actually, they play harder. Way harder than the All-Star game.
Oh, no. This is actually more interesting than the All-Star game. But they want to try.
But I was so, like, is the 76ers going to be like, Embiid, like, please don't, like, do anything dumb. Don't do anything crazy. Can you please just be mellow this game? So that was, like, the big deciding factor because the world has big guys. Like
the world has
USA has one power forward / center, and that's John Collins. The rest of them are 2 guards or point guards. So it's like point guards and wings versus big men.
Ingram's pretty tall though, isn't he?
Ingram's tall, but if you put Ingram,
he's 100.
No, I know he's light.
Yeah, but I think he's almost 7.
So a 7-foot. 180-pound man versus Joel Embiid, who's probably like 2 or 3 inches taller and 270 pounds. No. There's no contest.
No.
I'm picking World.
Oh, I see your notes. I know you changed.
I did change it because 60-40. I just think I know like the whole league is like 3-point heavy and everything, but if you give it to Embiid or you give it to Sark or you give it to a big guy, it's just instant 2 points.
Honestly, looking at this roster, if there wasn't 3 Lakers on the USA and there was 3 Lakers on the World, I would be picking World, but I'm representing, I can't go against the grain. So, ending off...
nothing else than the tacos, right?
The tacos. Ending off the podcast, we're going with Lucas's shot. And this is what he gets for going 1-4. For those
screwed.
For those paying attention, the New Orleans Pelicans Indiana Pacers game was postponed due to wet floors, a leak in the ceiling. So we repicked it midweek. Rockets versus Nuggets. Lucas and I chose the Nuggets. Jason chose the Rockets.
Like an intelligent man.
I just wanted an underdog.
Lucas went 0-4, and if it wasn't for the Utah Jazz being on their 10-game win streak, he would have had the worst week.
Why can't I just have happiness? That's all I want. And this shot smells so sad.
So we're gonna give this name a quick shot. This shot a quick name. Maybe if I've had a few too many. This is the Pheonix Suns. It's the 14th worst shot you'll ever take.
That was nice.
I hate you. It's like medicine. Like
it's to heal the mediocrity
that was like
that the Suns are.
Alcoholic NyQuil. That was not great.
Wait, have you never mixed alcohol and NyQuil?
Like purple drink.
That's
literally the shot you just took.
Oh my. So that will conclude our fourth quarter. Thank you for tuning in to the Sip and Swish podcast.
Like, share, subscribe.
Next week we'll be coming at you hot with a fresh interview. We're going to surprise you with our guest, but he's big time. He's a big guy.
He's a former NBA agent.
Stop spoiling, Lucas.
Sorry.
God. Follow us on Facebook, Sip and Swish NBA, Twitter, @Sip and Swish. You can find our website, thesipandswish.com. We're looking at you next week.